Our next speaker will be Dr. Sanaullah Ansari. Dr. Ansari came all the way from Malaysia. Dr. Ansari holds a PhD in Islamic finance from the University of Science in Malaysia. Dr. Ansari conducts training sessions on Islamic banking and finance and is invited to speak around the world on Islamic finance by both the academic and private sector. So please welcome Dr. Ansari.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulihil kareem. Amma ba'd. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Dear brothers and sisters, much has been presented and much has been listened since yesterday about Islamic banking, about Islamic finance, and about this industry in specifically USA. So luckily, I'm not going to discuss the permissibility of Islamic banking, whether it is right or wrong. I'm not going to talk about the acceptance of Islamic finance, whether it is halal or haram. I'm just going to give a brief introduction, you can say, about Islamic finance industry in the world and what a little a portion of this industry is existing in USA. We all have listened so much since yesterday. This is a reality, you know, that Islamic finance is an industry. It is a reality, we have to accept it. Again, Sharia compliance, we can discuss whether it is right or wrong. That's a separate topic. But Islamic finance is an industry. And this industry, definitely since its establishment in 1963, it is growing rapidly and at very fast pace throughout the world. The main contributor of this industry are, Islamic banks, takaful companies, Islamic funds, sukuk, and other financial institutions which offer other Islamic financing products like muzaraba products, murabaha products, and mutual funds. If we talk about, in the light of the presentations which has been delivered since yesterday, I have deleted so many, slides from my presentation, which looks the repetition actually. So I'm going to give you, try to give you a new thing, that since the establishment of this industry, what we are standing right now. And by the end of 2022, the total Islamic finance industry is reached at $4.5 trillion in terms of Islamic finance assets. The annual growth rate of this industry is 11%. And by the end of 2022, there are 1,871 Islamic financial institutions which are operating throughout the world. If you talk about the growth rate of Islamic finance industry in terms of assets from 2016 to 2022, we can see that the assets, total assets were $2,409 billion in 2016. They reached to $2,564 billion in 2017, then $2,668 billion in 2018, then $3,029 billion in 2019, $3,387 billion in 2020, $4,066 billion 2021, and by the end of 2022, it reaches to $4,508 billion. And it is projected that Islamic finance assets will reach to $6,667 billion by the end of 2027. As I told you earlier, that Islamic finance industry is constituting so many Islamic financial institutions. If we talk about different assets of every sector, Islamic banking is the larger contributor of this industry by having, Islamic banking having $3,244 billion of assets by the end of 2022. and that is the 72% of the total Islamic finance industry in the world, by having 610 Islamic banks which are working throughout the world. Takaful companies has $90 billion assets, which is only 2% of the total Islamic finance industry, with 344 Takaful companies in the world. Other Islamic financial institutions, their proportion is $167 billion, which is 4% of the total Islamic finance industry, and 917 Islamic finance institutions are working in the world. The proportion of sukuk is $788 billion, which is 17% of the total industry. And there are 4,806 sukuk companies are working in the world by the end of 2022. And Islamic funds having $220 billion assets, which is 5% of the total Islamic finance industry. And 2,233 Islamic funds are also operating in the world. If we talk about the top countries in terms of Islamic finance assets by the end of 2022, we can see the top of the list is Iran, having $1,522 billion Islamic finance assets. After that, Saudi Arabia with the $1,017 billion, then Malaysia, $666 billion, then UAE, $277 billion, Kuwait, $208 billion, Qatar, $179 billion, Indonesia, $148 billion, and Bahrain, $112 billion. As we have discussed that Islamic banking is the major contributor of the total Islamic finance industry in the world. And we all know how Islamic banking industry has been evolved in the world. Historically, we all know this is just a glimpse of the history of Islamic banking that is started in 1963 in Egypt. Then the very first bank was established in 1967, and then 1971 very first Islamic bank, NACIF Social Bank, was established in Egypt, and then Islamic Development Bank was established in Saudi Arabia in 1974 to control, to manage, to make policies for Islamic banking industry in the world. And Dubai Islamic Bank was established in 1975, and that was the very first private Islamic bank in the world. International Association of Islamic Banks, established in 1977 in Saudi Arabia to promote Islamic banking. And IOFI was established in 1990 with the objectives to prepare accounting, auditing, governance, ethical, and Sharia standards for Islamic financial institutions and the Islamic finance industry. Similarly, Islamic Financial Services Board, actually I'm operating two things at the same time. Islamic Financial Services Board was also established in 2002, and which issues guiding principles and standards for the Islamic financial industry to ensure its soundness and stability. After that, definitely, there are several Islamic banks were established throughout the world, including Muslim and non-Muslim countries. And the growth of Islamic banks or Islamic finance industry, definitely it is supported by Muslim population throughout the world. And the Muslim population is expected to be more than 25% of the world population by 2030. So Islamic banking, as it is the major contributor of overall Islamic finance industry, we have to discuss that what Islamic banking industry stands right now. Again, Islamic banking assets throughout the world by the end of 22 was $3.2 trillion. And the annual growth rate was 13%, which is remarkable and outstanding. And 610 Islamic banks were working by the end of 2022. Maybe there is an increase till today or not. Similarly, if we talk about the Islamic banking assets growth from 2016 to 2022, we can see that in 2016, the total assets of Islamic banking sector was $1,769 billion, which reaches to $1,831 billion in next year, and then 1,882 in 2018, 2,133 in 2019, $2,453 billion in 2020, $2,875 billion in 2021, and by the end of 2022, total assets of Islamic banking industry in the world reaches to $3,444 billion. And it is also projected that the total assets of only Islamic banking industry would reach to $4,618 billion by the end of 2027. Again, if we talk about the Islamic banking assets by region, by the end of 2022, we can see the GCC region is at the top by having $1,376 billion. After that, other MENA region, $1,371 billion. Then Southeast Asia, $335 billion. South Asia, where my country is existing, Pakistan, they're $84 billion. Then Europe, $72 billion. Sub-Saharan Africa, $4 billion. And Americas, $1 billion only. And other Asian countries, $0.4 billion. Similarly, top countries which are having Islamic banking assets by the end of 2022, again, on the